Hi, welcome to Bourbon Turntable. We're a new show where we blend the love of whiskey and the love of music. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all under Bourbon Turntable. My name's Kevin Rose. I'm a whiskey and music enthusiast and an amateur bourbon writer, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Ben Eves and Drew Crawley.
Hi there. We're going to do this right. I think this is the third time we're trying it. We'll fill you in on what happened at the beginning in a minute. But first of all, that was the first intro from first episode a year ago. And I'm not saying that I'm necessarily good at this now, and I've proven that to us tonight already, but I'm not that bad anymore. I think I forgot the theme of the show. I forgot the names of my co-hosts, and somebody was murdered at Ben's house during that intro. But at any rate, hi there. We are Bourbon Turntable. We are the show that blends the love of music with the love of whiskey. And with me tonight, as always, Mr. Drew Crawley. Drew, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, my friend. How are you?
Well, I'm better now. I am better now. We started the show once, and I forgot to hit go live. So
excellent.
Drew and I are sitting here and doing a show and having a good time, and it was awesome. You guys missed the first show, and it was really great. And then we had this guy show up too, and he was fantastic as always. But here we are. We're actually doing it now, where people that showed up to watch can watch.
You gotta love it. Hey, happy anniversary, happy birthday, right? It wouldn't be a party if something didn't go a little off the rails to start.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. Hey, Mike.
Hi again.
Long time no see.
That was awesome.
I'm sitting here looking at the screen. I'm like, that's not supposed to be like that. What's going on? And then I flipped over and looked at the YouTube feed, and it's just sitting there. I'm like, oh gosh, what did I do? Okay, I didn't go live. And then Cindy's coming down the steps saying, it's not on. It's not on. So, hey, we're here now. And for everybody that's joining us, thank you for your patience, and thank you for being here. Thank you for watching over this past year. And we have Mike here with us, as he is the Cal Ripken of the show. He is always around. He makes it to every single show, whether he is here or not. So, Mike, we're going to let you go ahead and do your very important part of the show.
Okay. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, share with your family and friends, leave a comment down below on YouTube. And don't forget, this show comes out every Wednesday, usually in the mornings on every possible streaming platform available. And then there are these special live episodes. If you are watching live, please, please, please comment in the chat and interact with the very nice hosts.
Thank you, as always, Mike. And thank you for your support over the last year. You've been great. You've been a wonderful friend to the show. You've helped in numerous ways, and we want to thank you for that.
Well, the thanks goes back to you. I enjoy it every single time it comes out. It's been great watching you guys.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Hey, we want to tell you about some other shows that you can watch and listen to, because we are a part of the Bar Cart Co-op. Bar Cart Co-op is a collection of friends and whiskey enthusiasts and people that like to make whiskey content. We've got Alan Bishop doing Distiller's Talk with Christy Atkinson, and he has a new show. If you have Ghost, you have everything. And he does that with his wife, Kim. My Whiskey Den, Mike, Pat, that's their show. They've been great. They've been on our show before, as Mike is on now. Then you've got us, Bourbon Turntable. So happy anniversary, happy birthday to us. So
indeed,
what we do on this show is, one of the things we do is we drink. We have whiskey. So Mike, tell us what you are drinking tonight, sir.
I am still drinking my sample of Noble Oak Double Oak Bourbon, and I'm becoming more and more impressed with things coming out of Ohio. This is a pretty darn good bourbon. I was very surprised by it, and it's just right. I highly recommend it.
Very good.
I'll be hunting down one of those soon.
Yeah, there is some good stuff out of Ohio. I would agree with that as well. Drew, what do you have, buddy?
All right. So I am drinking a sample of the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof C922 tonight. So one of my buddies was kind enough to share some of that with me. And you guys know that I'm a huge simp, I guess, for Elijah Craig products. So I'm excited to be trying that one. Decided to start the evening swinging for the fences. So pretty good right now. It's very reminiscent of like a pecan pie, but on fire. So I'm digging it.
Pecan pie on fire. Pecan pie and fuego. Very good. All right. I am drinking this from Brooklyn Distilling. It is a seal box pick. Nice. It is a 7-year American single malt, and it is cask strength at 130 proof. So that'll get you warmed up, and it is fantastic. But I'll tell you what, and Blake, he may be dropping in with us later on. I went to get a backup bottle because you can see that this one has been a little well shared, so it's kind of in the bottom third of it. So I went to get another bottle on there and came up with this. It was in the cart. It was in the cart and then went away.
Hate to see it.
So that was very disappointing. Very disappointing. All right. So, Mike, you've been on a few shows with us, and I'm guessing that what you probably do is you watch the shows that you're on, and then you watch every other show long enough to capture the clip of us using you in your name and likeness, and then you send that to your attorney, and then you turn the show off. Is that pretty much how it goes?
I mean, you're not far off. I do watch all of the shows except for if you have any redheads on, I turn it off immediately.
I understand.
Yeah.
Understand. Well, we've had Robert Licorice on, so
yeah.
So that would count, right? That would count.
He would count.
Yeah. Well, do you have anything, any particular? Not to put you on the spot here, but are there any particular shows that you remember? We'll start there. But are there any shows that you remember that you really liked or hated? You can tell me the ones you hated off air, but that's okay. Absolutely
none that I hated. One of my favorites, actually, most recent one was the 2-part with Mr. Gorman.
Yeah.
And that was just a really good interview with good insight. But his story about his seeing the worst and best concert in the same night, that's awesome. That was really good. Yeah, that was an unbeatable evening. No, I mean, honestly, every one of them, because you guys do a really good job of, not everyone's a whiskey person necessarily who's on it, but you do a really good job of talking the whiskey with the person, and everyone's got something you share about it. And then the music subjects that you guys get into, they're pretty varied. I mean, the only I would say standard question that you might ask is, what was your first concert or first album? But other than that, it's a totally different theme. So it's really a different show every single time. So it's no, I've seen them all and listened to them all, and they're all good.
Awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, you're welcome.
It's nice to know we have one consistent listener that neither of us are, related to or married to. It's good.
Well,
the night is young, Drew.
Yeah. Cindy didn't watch much at first, and after seeing me again on episode 1, I don't really blame her or anybody else. But she started watching, and I think the first show that she really watched was the one. I don't remember who the guest was right offhand. I think it was Hunter and Walter, where you asked them to marry, shag, kill, and I don't remember who it was.
We got to bring that segment back. That's a good time. I'll tell you one that I hated was the one with Crown Royal. Crown Royal again. I think we did Super Bowl halftime shows.
Yes, we did.
I think Red was on there with us.
She was.
Yes. But Yeah, that's going to be a hard pass for me. That's one that will not make its way back into my rotation.
Oh yeah, well, it was. I think that was the night that I mixed Crown Royal with Diet Mountain Dew in a Glencairn glass. I think Jolie was really fond of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was.
I mean, we've had some pretty awesome shows. I'm sure we'll get into more of this later, but I was reading back through it, and we covered the Highwaymen. Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday!
And it's Drew's birthday on Friday.
All right.
Happy birthday, Drew.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey,
Yeah, happy early birthday.
I have a cupcake too. Sorry, Mike.
Excellent.
That's okay. That's okay.
I owe you a cupcake now. But Drew's birthday is Friday, and I think he might be 21.
Something like that.
Well, 22 since he's been doing a whiskey show for a year. But
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. No, we decided to combine two of our favorite things on the show. We're doing a rock band party. So we're going to get everybody together and open some good bottles of whiskey, and then we're going to play rock band all night. That's my birthday plans. Yeah.
That is awesome. So,
be
Very
good.
cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just to get back to it, we had so many great shows, great guests. We've had people in the rum industry. We've had some rice whiskey. We've had radio DJs, musicians, distillers, and all of our friends on the show over the last year. So it's been really fun.
Yeah, it has been a lot of fun. So I think we've had a good time with it, and hope other people have as well. And I think we will probably be having a few other guests on the show here shortly. So we'll just kind of take that as it comes. We don't have a firm, fast schedule for any of those folks, but one thing I wanted to ask, and Mike, you as well. When we started the show, we did a debut album show, and then we did a show about your first concerts and the first albums. And we did a music of the year show, and we'll do another one of those this year. But what's in the last year, what's been your favorite concert that you went to?
Ooh.
And anybody in the chat, if you've had a favorite concert in the last year, type that in there. I'd love to see what you have to say. Mike, what do you think?
Well, I haven't been to that many live concerts this year, but the two most recent ones was well, I just went to Jack White last week with my son, which was awesome. And last time we saw him, I saw him with my son as well when he was at school in St. Louis. Drove over there, went to the concert. But what I didn't know is that he doesn't do a set list, that he plays what he feels. And so I had more respect for the band because he just starts and the band has to roll with it. And I was like, well, okay, even more so, he's pretty freaking cool. The concert itself was high energy. It was great. He kept saying, I'm going to feed off of you. And they did. The crowd was awesome. The only other one right before that was Brandy Carlisle, which she was just phenomenal. She was good. I got indoctrinated into Katie Pruitt, and I think she was amazing. But that concert, I don't know if I told you guys this, that had one of my favorite moments because Brandy, during the show, I mean, she's got her normal band, she's got the brothers, and she's talking and whatever, and then she's like, "Oh yeah," she goes, "And on my keyboard player over there, I've got Shooter Jennings," and I'm like, "Well, I'll be damned, that guy does look like Shooter Jennings." So then later, the guy stands up, and I'm like, "Holy shit, it is Shooter Jennings! He was just playing keyboards because he can."
Wow,
that's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was just so cool. I'm like, I cannot believe he was just doing it because he could.
Yeah.
Mike, remind me sometime when we're not doing a show to tell you the time I ended up at a hotel bar at 2 a.m. with Shooter Jennings.
Oh, I definitely want to hear this.
Yeah. We'll have to talk about that later. But man, that's a pretty good little list of shows that you've been to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I was trying to think if I'd been to another one this year, but I honestly. Marcus King. That was the only other one I've been to. Is Marcus?
Is that all? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Jack White, Marcus
It
King.
was-
That's nothing. Yeah. Okay.
it was good, but it wasn't what I expected the Marcus King show to be.
Oh, really?
He had another guitar player with him who was really good. The kid
Mhm.
was good. But that kid played about as much as Marcus did. And Marcus didn't get out Big Red until like the last two songs.
Interesting.
And it was good, but it was a full band. And I mean, it was a nice thing, but I was going there to hear screaming and wailing and, and just really getting with it. And there wasn't, it was a lot more reserved than what I'd anticipated. Still good, but it wasn't what I thought it would be.
Okay. What about you, Drew?
Yeah, I was thinking back.
You've
on
been
it.
to a lot of concerts, right?
Been to a lot of concerts. Yeah.
Unlike Kim Bishop in our chat, who just said that asked if Penny's kindergarten graduation counted as a concert. So I don't know that does, but congratulations. So
only if you tailgated.
Yeah.
We often joke we don't take real vacations. We just take 2 days to go to Nashville and go to a concert and come back. But, no, we've seen a lot this last year. I would say one of the highlights for me would have been Rustin Kelly and Jason Isbell at the Ryman.
Yep.
That was a pretty special show. It's been on my bucket list a long time to see a show at the Ryman. So for it to be those guys was pretty special. Bonnaroo was another one. Got to see a lot of acts. Stevie Nicks, Robert Plant and Alison Krauss, Zach Bryan. So that was good. But yeah, I think if I had to just pick one as the standout, I would say the Rustin Kelly show at the Ryman.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I got to see Tool for the first time this past year. And
right.
that was,
you and Will went.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting to be able to go. Will got invited by a friend who had a suite through his work. And that afternoon around 2:00, Will calls and says, "Hey, you want to go see the Tool concert?" Okay. So that was very cool. But probably my favorite from the last year was Cindy and I saw Tedeschi Trucks Band in Chattanooga. It was on our anniversary, and Chattanooga was the place where we lived when we first got married. So that was really cool. And it's never a bad thing to see the Tedeschi Trucks Band. So
no.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to bring in a couple other folks here.
Couple.
Look at this guy.
Patrick.
He's been reading.
You're all fuzzy, dude.
You're blurry, bud.
It's hard to see that. It's hard to see that on the small screen.
Hey, there he is.
There he is.
Oh, and look at this guy.
Oh.
Hey, if you're not wearing leather chaps, get out.
I mean, whatever you're into. Oh my God! What the hell? It's Jolie Casper. Look, I broke her.
Hey, yeah, Jolie. There's something going on with your mic, so I'm going to put you out here for just a second.
Yeah, there's something wrong with Jolie's face.
Okay, we can mark the time that I completely lost control of the show at 19 minutes and 25 seconds. 19 minutes and 25 seconds.
That's even with me having the coronavirus. You're welcome.
It's weird. It was
I heard whiskey kills that.
We're working on it.
Yeah, it's weird. Like YouTube was editing Jolie. It's weird.
Now, I want to point this out real quick, Alan. This was so I'm promoting here, all your different shows and activities, and it's like every other day there's a new Alan Bishop show. But the picture in the top left was on my 55th birthday celebration on the show, and I'm not really sure what was going on with you that night, but there you were in all of your glory. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, Alan's not entirely sure what was going on with Alan that night. It was probably absinthe related, if I had to guess. So
I'll have those nights. Man, I got to tell you, Alan, I'm loving the new podcast. Not to do the whole commercial thing, but If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything has been a great listen. So
thank you. I appreciate
really
it, man.
That.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun to work on. Usually, this week, fighting this deal. I've been trying to work on the Count of Saint Germain episode, and I worked on it yesterday for like 8 hours, and I got like 12 minutes.
Brain fog. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I want to show one more thing here real quick. So you can purchase this book.
Oh yeah.
Right here, and Alan, you can tell everybody where they can get it.
Can I? Yeah. So you can get the autographed version at thealchemistcabinet.com on the warehouse store, and then there's an Amazon version too that's not signed. And I don't have the link memorized because I'm not that good of a pimp. So,
very good. All right.
It's not even wearing a hat.
Oh, it's back.
There she is.
It's like a wart.
Hi, Julie.
Hi. Is that better?
Oh, no, the voice
Can
is
you hear
even
me?
worse.
Well, we can hear you, but you're moving like in stop motion or something. I don't know what's going on. What's
Yeah.
Andy? What's Andy watching on the internet?
StreamYard
That's what we need to know.
It's not working for me tonight.
Hmm.
Andy is playing some type of NHL game, hockey game.
Well, he's taking up all your bandwidth. That's what's
Yeah.
That's
going
what it is.
on. He's taking up all
You
your
need,
bandwidth.
Okay,
you
is
need
it
to
better
do a
now?
power
Because
move.
he's done.
Yeah, tell Andy to get
A
off.
power move?
Not my
Yeah.
dog for once, by the way, guys.
Patrick, what?
What?
It is not. Yeah, I haven't heard your dog on the
Okay,
show
is
in
it
a long
better
time.
or am
Alan.
I still like slow motion?
You're still like slow motion.
Okay, well, I don't know what you want me to do.
But
I
your
don't know.
voice good?
Yeah,
Hey,
Mike, we can hear you. Just
Jolie.
don't look at her.
It'll be okay. It's only Wednesday.
Fuck you, Alan. Sorry.
And so it
Wednesday.
begins.
There we go.
Happy Whiskey Wednesday.
Yes.
Wednesday.
All right. So, Patrick, you've been on the show with us a couple times, and we appreciate that. And you, okay. Now the Funk Hunter, and if you're in the audience
God,
and you
that
don't
hurt.
know
It
the
hurt.
Funk Hunter story, then you just need to go back and watch. We did a show, a new music, new whiskey show with Mike and Pat about a month or so ago. And everybody was supposed to talk about whatever new music they were listening to. And Patrick brought up a band that I don't think he had ever heard of before. I think he may have Googled it 5 minutes before the show started. Something called the Funk Hunters. And it's
They had one interesting song and the rest, and then if you look at it afterwards, it's you probably know the night you're getting involved in, and it's not something that's standing. It's Andy, rub his head.
Happy anniversary.
hey Andy, what's up, buddy?
Buddy.
He said happy anniversary.
The best comment of that night, though, Kevin, was when you put up the picture. You put up the picture of the Funk Hunters, and you said, "From the picture, I think I hate them."
Yeah.
And then I listened to it, and that confirmed that
Yes.
I hated them.
I
Yes,
feel like
It's like
the Funk
it's like-
Hunters are like the Kentucky Headhunters of like Wisconsin.
No, not here.
no. It's
No.
like if the
Miami,
Chainsmokers
maybe?
sucked even worse. Not to shit all over your musical choices, Patrick, but man, that one was off.
No, it's something like at one point in the day where I was like, I kind of like that, and then I did, and then you start looking into the rest of it afterwards in the band, and you're like, okay, I made a poor decision.
It's all right. We've all been there, man. We've all been there.
It happens.
Goodness. So, Alan, you've been on a few shows with us, and we've got a few shows coming up that you're going to be on as well. And you may have seen a show or two along the way. Anything stand out to you? Anything that was particularly fun for you?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much all the shows I'm not on suck. No, No.
Oh my God.
Just in general.
Thanks for joining us, Alan. Appreciate it, buddy. Yep.
Later. You're welcome. I came and conquered. I'm out.
He showed up. We pimped all his crap. He crapped all over our show, and then he left.
That's
Cancel
kind
him.
of MO.
That
Cancel
is
his
the
ass.
Alan. That is the Alan Bishop experience, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
Right?
it's not so much moments in general. It's just the general overall structure of the show, because it interests me, obviously, being a fan of music and sometimes a musician myself. It's always great. It's great that there's an actual forum now, as opposed to just us kicking songs back and forth drunkenly in Messenger, right? And a forum where we can bring in outsiders and put them on the show and talk to them and get their opinions on music and how that affects the production of whatever they're doing. That's in general, for me, that's the fun of it.
Yeah. Well, I think we had you on. We had kind of made a little list here. Let's see if I can find it. When we first started, these were kind of the first couple of months of shows, and we did some debut shows. Some first shows, like first concerts, first albums. We talked about Rick Rubin, talked about the Highwaymen, and we had National Alan Bishop Day. So,
Oh my God.
It's about time for another run of that, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
No.
I don't ever really.
Yeah,
No.
I've been decorating that for weeks.
we're really just about 6 weeks away from Alan
Like
Bishop
that.
Day 2022. So
Yeah, I don't ever really look at my calendar and write it down. I feel it in my blood, and you can always tell when it's coming, because I'll record a couple of really bad videos and share them amongst friends to make fun of Jolie. So the first round of those just went out recently. If you've not seen them yet, they're probably headed your way. So
I'm sure you can request them.
only if you share them with Jolie repeatedly.
I've already seen them. They're stupid. You're stupid.
now,
Alan Bishop Day is stupid.
Fuck this, I'm out.
we're going to do. We're going to do a show at some point that's going to be titled "Sucking on a Chili Dog," and we're going to talk about sugging on a chili dog. Yes, sugging. You listen to John Cougar sing the song. He says "sucking on a chili dog."
I'm gonna go down the street and knock on his door and see if I can get him on the show for us.
Please do.
Here, let me
We're
see
going to
if
be
it
talking.
works.
I'll go with my best friend Larry Bird.
You don't need to hear it.
We're going to talk about
I think
just
I can
nonsense
take this out
lyrics.
because I think I had to think.
Oh,
before.
I thought we had to have chili dogs on the show.
We will. If you want a chili dog, you can have a chili dog.
I feel like it might be required.
We're not going to pair a chili dog with Malort, though.
This
Oh,
thing
God,
is
no.
this thing is being sponsored by Oscar Mayer. It's happening.
Oh man. But hey, Alan, we did. Well, I'll get to that in a second. Kind of the second round of shows, the next couple of months. We had the guys from Monday Suck on, and I think I made Jack mad when I gave him a blind tasting of Chattanooga whiskey. He was not happy at all that he tried it and he actually liked it. But we kind of went through. We did our whiskey of the year show, our music of the year show. We had a fun eggnog show with Jason Bronner. We did a New Year's Eve show with Patrick and Mike and Ben. And one of the fun early shows we did is we did WKRP in Cincinnati, where we talked about the turkey drop show. So that was a lot of fun.
That's hard not to. It's like that could be an annual show. Sorry. Or do you pick a different Thanksgiving episode that is memorable and go with that?
I don't know. We've not gotten to that point yet. I've got a couple months yet to figure that out. I don't have anything scheduled that far out, Patrick. Come on, man, cut me some slack.
Oh, you got plenty of slack. Scheduled far out.
Somebody bound Jolie back to her Dybbuk box.
All right. Well, good. We've got space for one more a guest here then. Hey, Blake.
Blake,
Oh, what's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Good.
how are you, sir?
Doing well. Sorry, forgot my wife had a dinner tonight, so you may still hear some footsteps above me of kids running around. But no, wanted to jump in, say congrats on 1 year.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. We were talking about you before. Because
Bad stuff, I assume. But
no, well, what I'm drinking tonight is this.
Very nice.
All right, and then I was complaining because I went to your website, put it in the cart, and then I got this message. So see, that was very disappointing.
Yeah, that one went fast. We've got a couple others. I think we've got one of their American whiskeys. I think this is, well, if it's not been announced yet, it will be soon. Lost Lantern did a barrel from them, very similar to that.
Oh, really?
And so I'm excited to try that one. Brooklyn's one where I think, they just kind of head down, plug along, put out really good stuff, and starting to get even more attention. So that's exciting to see.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. And we had you on the show, and that was a lot of fun. And the thing that I think really fits with what you do and what we do, and like what Patrick and Mike do on their show, My Whiskey Den, is promote craft whiskey. And I know that Alan can attest to that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sure.
Alan, the book showed up this weekend. I'm excited to read it.
Oh, cool. Thanks for buying that, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. That's awesome. So now you're partially responsible for 2 of my streams of income. Thank you for feeding my babies.
So Blake, we've asked everybody else, what are you drinking tonight, and what was your best live music experience of the past year?
So I'm actually this is, maybe it sounds bad to say a rare occurrence. I'm not drinking anything tonight. It's been a lot of tasting going on, and then so I'm like taking a few days off, and then like 14 samples showed up this week. I'm like, well, I don't know if it's any better that I took 3 days off to then just be overloaded for the rest of the week, but tonight is water. Best live music over the, oh man, I'm trying to even think of what live music I've been to recently. So I'll go on like a curveball. I've been to a few concerts recently that were really good, but I went to this. It was like a songwriters event, and this guy Rivers Rutherford, who wrote a bunch of songs, and like that is extremely entertaining to me. I feel like I haven't done enough of that, where it's like, oh, these guys are the actual ones who write all these songs and tell the story behind it. A lot of times they're like making fun of the artist. It's like, yeah, this guy didn't think it was going to be a hit, and it's made him millions of dollars. And to me, that's way more entertaining. It's like the behind the curtain. So I'll give that a shout out. That was pretty recent. Other live music, I'll have to think. I'll like go back and look through pictures. I should have come prepared, knowing the topic would somehow turn to music.
Well, I'm curious to Alan and Pat as well. What's the best show you guys have seen?
I haven't gone to too many shows this year. Sorry, you mentioned that noise in the background. I think there's a heated game of The Floor is Lava. If you can't tell, there's some noise coming from the background right now.
I haven't played that in a while. That's a good idea. I need to get a good old fashioned Floor is Lava game going.
They brought it back on Netflix. Now no pillow in our house doesn't have dirt on it, because this is not a launching pad. Like, guys, put them back on the couch.
So I haven't gone to too many this year, but ones that I want to go to, or that I'm going to be upset I'm probably missing out on later on. Butch Walker has a tour, and I haven't checked all the dates, but considering a couple of you guys are coming in September, I have a wedding in October, and then by that point I'm half gone for getting into November, and half these ones are already past here. So I wanted to see Butch Walker. He just had a new album come out, and as far as from my youth, Lagwagon is having their 30-year anniversary tour, which is fantastic. But at the same time, you remember that they're 30 years old and you've been around for 30 years with them. So there's a little bit of aging that starts to track on that, and it's fun, and I want to go, but they hit dates that I just I'm not able to make it work. But those would be the two that I would hit up later this year. Local band, Better Drunk, which sounds crazy, but that's the actual name of the band. They're like a bluegrass band. I always like going to see them, so that's probably the one this year that I was happy to go see.
Cool.
They have a couple really good covers that are pretty enjoyable. So
Awesome.
No, with the kid and other stuff, no, live music has been far and few between this year. So
Yeah, on my end, I haven't been to a show in forever. Although I'm gonna be changing that here shortly with this Pantera reunion. So I'm determined that my daughter's first concert is going to be Pantera because that was my first concert. So I'm not sure if that's responsible parenting, but that's what's going to happen.
But you don't want to let down the next generation either.
That's right.
So,
that's right. But other than that, this year, so I'm finally getting to a point where I'm caught up enough with stuff and getting all these other projects going that I've got a new guy at the distillery I'm training, and he can kind of do some stuff that I didn't have anybody take care of before. But one of the things I got to do this year was go down to Michael Stallings' farm. And unfortunately, when I left, I remembered my copper instrument and forgot a stringed instrument, but I got to run that little copper instrument around some of what I consider probably the best, most underrated musicians in the world. There were literally a group of probably 50 musicians that honestly, every one of them of their own accord was world class. And it was just fantastic hearing those guys play and some of the things that they broke out music wise, and just a great bunch of people down there in Eastern Kentucky. So
very cool. Very cool.
You know, local bands are not to be ignored. You can find some that are quite honestly just as talented musically as anybody that you'd pay $100 and a $25 Ticketmaster fee to go see. It's a lot of it's just a matter of getting the break. It's not necessarily an issue of talent. And, you know, I think we can look no further than, you know, this guy right here.
Shoot.
You know, he's done some great things in the last year with his music and has some great things coming up. So while I've made that wonderful transition for you, Drew.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'll do the shameless plug. So yeah, we're doing a lot with music here locally. We're getting ready to play Gaslight Festival and Porchlight Fest. We've got the boys coming from Nashville and Louisville, putting together some cool shows coming up here in the next week or so. And then in, I guess, 3 weeks from yesterday, or I guess 3 weeks from Monday, I'm all off because of the Labor Day holiday, but we're hitting the studio to keep making this next record. So we're headed down to Nashville. We got some great players. Kevin Niehoff, who's been a guest on the show, and our good buddy Mark, who some of you guys know are going to be playing on it. So really excited for the next year. It's crazy. You know, a year ago, last week, we were in the studio recording for the EP, and now we are doing a whole record. So I'm very excited for that. So yeah, we'll talk about where you can find me, you know, later on. But if you do follow my music at all, there's some really cool stuff coming up here locally and then beyond. So thank you for the layup there, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Look, I'm here to do nothing more than help plug everybody else. Wait, that didn't sound right.
I was reaching for the unmute button.
Yeah.
Anyway, we want to promote folks that we respect and love and enjoy, and that are doing great things. And I think that you all qualify for that. And Jolie, who was, I don't know, internet issues with, you know, Andy playing video games or whatever he was doing online, you know. So, but Blake, what's coming up with Sealbox here?
Yeah, so we've got a few different releases coming. Fortuna from Rare Character. It's going to be a new label brand, old label that they've brought back with some bourbon barrels that they sourced. Let's see, we've got a really fun one coming from Pinhook. Sean, master taster there, and then Jay from Whiskey Raiders and Our Bourbon. We all got together and did it's 5-barrel blend actually. That's really good. Man, a lot of stuff. Have a fun one coming from Penelope. Some really cool stuff from Maidstone Distillery. And I got to throw some rum in there too. I'm going to force bourbon drinkers into being rum drinkers if if it's the last thing I do. But a really cool one from 14-year Jamaica from Rolling Fork, so that's exciting.
Yeah,
and cool. It feels like it's. I hope people don't mind us barraging their inboxes and text messages weekly, but it's kind of become the norm these days. Is just a lot to get through, and there's so much cool stuff going out. I think I've said before, I'm not a very good spirits buyer because I'm like, man, this tastes great, sounds interesting. We'll take it. We'll figure it out on the back end. So that's kind of what we've been doing. But no, it's been good.
Good. No, you do great stuff and really appreciate it. But Pat, you said you needed to hop off.
Yeah, I need to unfortunately take off and do a couple things here still this evening.
Yeah. Well, don't get caught in the lava.
I hope I don't. Like, there's some people here that play by some like kind of iffy rules. Like things can roll into the lava. I don't know.
Listen, kids are just like stoners, Patrick. You just got to blow up a balloon and tell them to keep the balloon off the floor. And then it changes the rules.
I was talking about my wife.
Oh, okay.
She likes to make up like, oh, I just kind of lean. I'm like, dude, your foot was in the lava, man. You're dead. Like, that's the way it works. Yeah.
You're out.
But no, I want to say congratulations to Kevin and Drew on the continued success. I've loved a lot of the shows. Steve Gorman one for me. Personally, was a really fantastic 2-part one. I love the stories he had, and just a little backstage access that he pulled you around with, and there was just a really fun episode. So I'm glad you guys are doing what you're doing, and looking forward to the future. And
thanks.
Looking forward to seeing you guys in a week or so.
Yep. See you in 2 weeks. No,
2 weeks. A week.
A week from Friday, yeah.
See, it's rolling in.
Going to Wisconsin a week from Friday.
I'm making them taste a bunch of Wisconsin whiskeys in southern Wisconsin. I wasn't going to do the whole state. It gets bigger than you think.
Wisconsin's an underrated state for distillation right now. I feel like there's a lot of cool stuff coming out of there.
So, well, you've always been big with Driftless Gun and Jay Henry, I know. I was going to say, and then we're going to both of those and a couple other ones as well too. But yeah, it's.
Listen, we've got the Wisconsin advocate here with Patrick. I'm just saying, Blake, if there's ever an extra Wisconsin chair for Bourbon Pursuit, I'm sure.
I think we need it. Yeah. I mean, they don't let me make any decisions on there, but yeah. I mean, I'll nominate it now.
Well, that's just shocking. That's just shocking.
Blake, you can't even get your mic straight. You get 0 votes.
Oh man. Well, we'll scout it out for you, Blake, and you'll probably have more emails than you want about. Hey, have you tried this distillery? Have you tried these guys? And so.
Well, that's Kevin's my best, suggestion meter. I would call it Dry Fly tomorrow. So there's quite a few that come in that way. So
awesome.
Not Wisconsin based, but was Kevin based. Well, but you know my maps.
but anyway, I won't keep you, Pat. I know you got to go. Thanks, buddy.
All good things, sir. Cheers.
Later, brother.
Have a good rest of the year, and I don't know, continued success. We'll see you later.
Thanks, buddy.
Love you, man. Later.
Love you.
Good night.
Hey, Drew, sometime here shortly, now that I am getting caught up, I do intend to make it down and catch some of your shows when I get back from ADI here shortly. So,
would love to have you. And if you're so inclined as to bring a guitar, maybe we can find something for you to sit in on.
Oh, you don't
I've
want me
got-
to set in on anything.
I don't know about that.
Okay, I'll take you up on that, Drew. I'll take you up on
Come
that.
on, Blake. Come on.
Oh,
Yeah, we've got the band good enough to where we can pretty much do anything. My only rule is I will not cover Morgan Wallen. So anything beyond that, I'm down for. So come on up, man. We'd love to have you.
Touche. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely sometime I'd like to catch up with Kevin and catch one of your shows, because I've been your stuff, and then going back to the Mike Stallings thing, somebody you might even be interested with working it with in the future, since it's a music show. Jory Bowling. Are you familiar with Jory?
I don't know that name.
I'll bring you a copy of his album. He's just fantastic. I mean, kind of in the same vein as Tyler Childers, but leaning even a little more bluegrass than Tyler Childers.
Sweet.
Typically. So
Sweet. I love it. Yeah, let's absolutely do that. Have you guys seen the little promos that Tyler has been doing on Instagram the last couple of days for his new record?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm excited for Friday.
8 a.m. that it's supposed, or is it Friday?
It's Friday, 8 a.m.
Okay.
He's apparently got a film project, which that actually kind of segues into some of our other topics for future shows. But the Tedeschi Trucks Band is doing a film thing, companion with their record. Seems like that might be the way forward with the advent of Instagram Reels and TikTok and all these other video platforms. Seems like that's a pretty cool way to get some eyes on your music. I kind of dig it.
Multimedia, and especially with all the meta stuff. I mean, can you imagine something like The Wall in today's world? I mean, where you could really an immersive thing, other than just the concert, obviously, which was immersive too. But if you couldn't have made it back in the day, if you had that option of you can sit down for 2.5 hours of your life and no longer be on this planet. So
yeah.
But you couldn't make Spinal Tap today. That or Blazing Saddles. Neither of those movies could be made in today's climate.
But I will say this, though. I think you can get away with Spinal Tap, and I'll tell you how you do it. Every time Dave Mustaine does an interview, it's Spinal Tap. And I love Megadeth, but it's literally every time he does an interview.
Wait, look who's back.
Oh,
there she is.
Gross. Hey,
It's
Wonder.
That sounded like Harry Carey. Hey.
I have no idea what happened to my computer. Like, it literally just died, and then I went to reboot it, and it took. I'm pretty sure it's still rebooting. So I don't know.
She was just over there slamming her fist on it the whole time.
Right. Just open it. Yeah. So sorry about that. Hello. Happy anniversary. Hi, guys.
Hey, thanks.
Hi, Jolie.
How are you? Now that your computer's not working, I don't know what's going on with that. But.
Yeah, I don't know. My son plays a lot of games on Steam. I don't know what that is, but he downloads all of these little tiny computer games. So I'm guessing that something just gets there.
Yeah.
So to catch you up, Jolie, what are you drinking, and what was your best concert or live music experience this year?
So I'm drinking Maddie Gladden, and my best concert experience was Joe Bonamassa.
Ooh, good show.
Yeah, he was he had so much energy and just nonstop, and changed guitars like every 2 songs. He probably played with 30 different guitars. It was amazing.
Very cool.
Didn't you go to that with your mom or mother-in-law?
I did. Yeah, I went. Yeah, she's the one that introduced me to it.
Like 32 years ago?
No, just this last year. What?
Nothing.
Anyway, it's a great show. It was in Evansville, Indiana.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool.
Hey, speaking of shameless plugs, by the way, I know Blake and Jolie know each other, but I'm not sure if Blake knows that Jolie's starting a new distillery.
I believe I did hear that, but I wasn't sure if I was supposed to hear that. So
wow, that was an excellent transition. Kevin was on that, or Mike, whoever that was.
Look at that.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. Or no, Jolie, maybe you messaged it to me. I could be wrong, but I did.
Yeah.
I have heard that. So
yeah.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
You got an online retail partner yet?
It's with. I do. It's you.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. So I am working for Patoka Lake Winery. They own a marina, a gas station, a restaurant, a winery, kind of all around in the same place. And so they're expanding their lodging. They have a bunch of land cabins, and they have floating cabins on the lake as well. They're building a new 27-room hotel that will be attached to the distillery, and they're building a brewery as well. So it's a $6 million expansion, and yeah, it's going to be exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That is
So
Yeah.
what's the ETA on up and running, stills cranking, all that?
So hopefully the stills will be cranking before the like gift shop and everything is up and running.
Mhm.
But I mean, I think we're thinking mid to late next year is when we're hoping everything is open.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Three will be first, phase 1, and then the lodging in the distillery is phase 2. But
They're just going to buy MGP light whiskey. That's what they're going to do.
yeah, we've got stills. We've got yeah, we're working on things. So
You know who else has stills?
exciting.
Tito's.
You You know what? I could make the kind of money that Tito's makes, so that then I could make sweet ass craft whiskey on the side. I'm okay with that.
You back that tanker right up to the still, and I will run it from the tanker through this still into the collection tank.
That's what we call.
I mean, that has to be the fastest running still in the world, right?
Right.
To churn through the amount of Tito's.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
That still was built by Gargamel himself.
yeah. It's like a 350-gallon pot still they show off or something. It's like,
Yeah.
vodka on the pot still,
No.
cool.
Do you remember when they used to be all about like helping save animals? And I don't think I've heard anything about those giving money to animals in a very long time. I'm sure they do, but that's not part of their marketing anymore.
Fuck those penguins. They're just snow ducks.
If y'all needed an intro into this episode, I think you just got it from Alan. That's going to be the tagline.
They're just snow ducks. Okay, great. Well, we're kind of walking through slowly, sort of as we go, just some of the shows from the last year. And January to February of this year, we had Bronner on to talk about Buzzard's Roost. That's another one you could talk to, Blake.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's so good. It's so good.
It is.
And I'm not a traditional Kentucky guy at all, and you know that. And it's good. And the peated one, oh my God, that was fucking amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. Deerhammer's another one.
Yeah,
Been in talks. My bottles from Lenny arrived this week.
Awesome.
Hey.
Speaking of new Steelbox clients, Golden Beaver. We got Chris on.
On that Golden Beaver episode, I tried to play a game because I always try to mess with Chris every chance I get. The game I tried to play was every time that Chris mentioned Rice or Rick Gibson, I tried to drink. I lasted about 20 minutes on that one.
You didn't make it very long.
No.
And I'm glad that they finally got the what was it, the thumper from Rick.
They got it, and you guys probably haven't seen this out in public. And I always got to make fun of Rick Gibson because I love him. But so he had of course he's a moonshine still builder, but he had a union, just a plumbing union, right? He couldn't get it to tighten up. So you know what he did to it? He soldered the plumbing union together, right? Thinking that Chris is not going to take a picture of this and share it with every other still builder on the face of the planet. So for the past 2 weeks,
These are my favorite conversations. It's all happening out loud on Facebook. And
oh yeah, my inbox is full of pictures of this. What happens when you can't tighten a union and you're too lazy to go buy a new one? You just solder it together.
Oh man, but that was
sounds
fun.
like you got to a solution. Yeah,
right.
Oh, and we had the Super Bowl show. Jolie was on with us there. We talked about Super Bowl halftime shows and drank Crown Royal with Mountain Dew. And then
beer and glass. Also, it was Diet Mountain Dew. I feel
it was Diet Mountain Dew in with Crown Royal in a Glencairn glass. And
yeah, that's maybe the worst whiskey
it was
subject that we've ever done.
It was bad.
That's pretty rough.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Then we did. We had my birthday episode. We already talked about Alan showing up. That's him in the top left.
What is wrong with you?
We discussed this in a private thread the other day.
And then Valentine's, we had the Ewalds on to do Valentine's cocktails, and we talked about love songs, and they're great people. Absolutely love them and appreciate them and their support of the show as well. So those are some fun ones.
So I have a. Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you were asking people about their, and you probably have this on your agenda already, but I'm just being selfish with COVID brain and a little moonshine over here. But I'm curious in the next upcoming year, if there's anything music wise that people have heard about that's coming up that they're excited about, whether it's a concert or a band or an album, something of that nature, right? Because we're all always constantly looking for the next thing, and I need new things. I've got like several more days of isolation here in the tiny house, so give me something.
Yeah, I'll take that one. Yeah, well, go ahead, Kevin.
No, go on. Go ahead.
I'll text you a bunch of albums, Alan, later tonight. But no, I think the one really exciting thing for me is how many festivals are now incorporating whiskey and sponsorships and stuff like that. So Bourbon and Beyond coming up is huge. They always do a great job of kind of exactly what we love on this show, which is great music and great whiskey. So that'll be a really fun one. There is not a bad band on that entire lineup. So that's going to be pretty exciting. I think what Tedeschi Trucks has been doing, and I think we have a show maybe coming up with those or with that set up. But then the other thing I think that's super exciting here in Louisville, at least, is how many great bands are playing here locally at bars like Stevie Ray's, and you can get a double of Rare Breed for $6. And we're watching kind of as COVID sort of winds down, or whatever the technical term is that we're supposed to use. We've got all these great bands coming back to these great bars. So yeah, there's some awesome festivals and there's some awesome records coming out, but there's also this local music scene that's starting to blossom back out, kind of in this post-COVID era. So I'm excited about all of it, man.
Yeah. I think that the whole Tedeschi Trucks concept over the course of the summer has been fantastic. If you've not been in on any of that, now's the time to jump in, because they've released all 4 of the albums in the series, and they're all great. And Mike, I know you've been all over it too.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. I wish they were coming closer to me. They're not. The closest they were coming to me was St. Louis, but that when I looked at the show, it was like it was a little high, which I know it's not their doing. It's the venue, but I'm looking forward to them. If I don't catch them this year, I'm sure they'll be back around the beginning of next year. Sure, definitely catch them then.
Yeah, they tour like monsters.
Yes.
Marcus King's got a new album coming out later this month, The Cult. I know, Alan, you're a fan of The Cult. They've got a new album coming out as well.
Yep.
So, and we try, probably once every 2 or 3 months to do a show on new music and new whiskey, and try to get that out there to folks. And, one thing that we are going to do starting today. So you can hop on and join this after the show or during the show. I don't care. But we are starting a Bourbon Turntable Facebook group. We have a Facebook page, which we'll continue to use to throw out, content and links to shows and stuff. But we wanted to start a Facebook group and make that something that is more interactive. So you can post on there, hey, I listened to this new album, it's fantastic. Or I tried this and this whiskey and I love it. Or, hey, tonight I'm listening to the Allman Brothers on vinyl on my turntable, and I'm drinking, Wild Turkey. Just try to get that kind of thing rolling with everybody.
So instead of us all just slowly messaging everybody as we drink and get more drunk and share YouTube links, we just have a place in public where we can do it now. So yeah, exactly. That's great.
Exactly.
That's great.
To be
Public.
fair, that's what you do.
Hey, I'm not the only one. I'm not the Kevin has been guilty of this too. It's just that we
don't know
don't
what
share
you're
it with
talking
you
about.
because we don't like you.
I think of those two. That's how everyone knows you've gotten to the point of no return, is when you start blasting out YouTube videos.
Listen, that's when I've gotten to the point of perfection, not no return.
Oh man. But hop on. The page is set up. The group is set up, and I'll send out invitations to everybody I know later on, and we'll have it all formalized. But again, the purpose of it is to help people interact with the whole music and whiskey thing, because probably should have talked about this at the beginning again, but that's what we want our show to be about, is talking about the relationship between music and whiskey and the correlations between the two. And I think when we've had distillers on as guests, there's consistently comments about how music is an inspiration to them and what they're doing, and it makes a difference in how they distill and how they come up with ideas for what they're making. And when we've had musicians on, it's been the same kind of thing. Not just, we got so wasted in the green room before our show. No, but what whiskey means to them in what they're doing. So this isn't just kind of a gag or a gimmick for us. This is, we believe that this is something that there's a real connection to, and for other people that may be like-minded, now you've got a forum for people that yak about it once a week, and now we can trade ideas about it anytime, day or night. So
that's good. So to not change the subject, but I'd be curious to go around the horn on this. What for you guys is the most exciting thing going on in whiskey right now, and what is the most disappointing? Maybe we can do a 1A and 1B. Blake, you're the first person up on my screen. What's most exciting to you, and what's most disappointing going on?
Just kind of jump straight into it. I don't even have time to think about it.
Gotcha.
Yes, I know. Man, I'm trying to not think of just a selfish plug to get people back to try new things at Sealbox, but no, I mean honestly, I think it's just the age of products we're seeing on the craft distilling side. That's where I'm drinking. That's where I'm spending most of my time, and so I mean 4 years in the craft world is kind of the new baseline. You're starting to see a lot of 6-year stuff, 7-year, 8. So I think that's by far the most exciting, and it's not just one or two people who have it. There's a good set of people and distillers that have been making stuff for 6+ years, and it's getting to be really good. So that's what I think is most exciting, just to see how much can change between distillery grains, yeast, what kind of still they have set up at age. So it's no longer just the massive column stills at 8 years old. Like, we're seeing some really good stuff coming off pot stills that's in that 6 to 8 year range. That's my long-winded answer while I think about the most disappointing thing. I don't know. I mean, I hate it, but I get it. But prices are just going up. When I can kind of rationalize it in my head, I'm okay with it. No big deal. But across the board, it just seems like the same things that we were buying a year, 2 years ago are now $30, $40 more expensive. That's a little disappointing, but it's kind of the game that we're in too. So it's especially for people who are sourcing, and in a way they're not controlling their own destiny at times. They've got to go out to the open market. That open market's way more expensive. So it's like, I do understand it, but you just hate to see the same thing that was $50 a bottle last year is now $80 a bottle. But
sure. Yep. I feel you on that, man. For sure. That's great. Jolie, what do you think?
I think American Single Malt is the coolest thing happening right now. Craft, absolutely, I agree. The age, where craft is at, I think the fact that it's changing the game for a lot of things, even the big players. So, but yeah, I think American Single Malt is exciting. I broke into the world of Scotch last year and am overwhelmed and excited all at the same time. So to see that happening, with single malt in the United States, fantastic. And I think the secondary market is lame. I think the prices for things are liquor stores are now selling things at secondary, which I think is just a sad shame. And you should be able to get things for MSRP at your local place. And I think the fact that you're going to see, things like Booker's and Blanton's, you don't find any of those things on the shelf, which I don't think bodes well for new bourbon drinkers, but does bode well for the craft industry, because we talked about this the other day. You get tired of that, chasing that quote unquote unicorn. You do that for so long, you don't get anything. Why wouldn't you start checking out the distilleries in your own backyard? And it turns bourbon hunters into bourbon nerds. And I think that it's good for the craft industry, because you can slowly but surely see the focus of people learning more about whiskey and learning how it's made and getting more into that side of things than it is just taking the picture of this, pretty bottle, which I personally love to do. So I get it. But yeah, the pricing is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the craft whiskey industry is like Creed with arms wide open?
Perfect musical reference. I think that ties right.
Yeah, great. That's exactly what I was saying. Thank you so much for clarifying that for everyone.
Perfect segue there. Alan, what do you think, man? Most exciting, most frustrating, or disappointing?
Listen, I don't know why anybody's playing around on the secondary market. The tertiary market here in Indiana, which is really just yard sales, where people are just trying to get rid of dusty bottles of mine that they bought and they don't want to taste. That's really where it's at. So I don't know. For me, I think my biggest disappointment is sort of twofold, and they're both related to one another. One, again, and not to pick on them because I do respect them and love them, but the fact that everybody that's a non-distiller producer has jumped on MGP light whiskey. Why? Because MGP has nothing else to sell you right now, and you're going to jump on that. Now you're going to make it a thing because they have nothing else to sell you. Secondarily, the number of craft distillers that are starting up that are literally clones of one another because they took their advice all from the same places. They have the same consultants, the same setup, the same buildings, the same stills, the same fermenters, the same yeast, the same source product. Where are they going to be in 5 years? Not in production. That's where they're going to be in 5 years. On the positive side, what I am excited about is that it seems to me like bourbon drinkers are becoming more adventurous. They're getting more interested in localized spirits, and that's what I think we need to get back to some degree in this country. You have to have mega producers, and you have to have a spirit of the United States, which we have with bourbon, right? But there's so much more room there, so much more room for growth, especially with sort of oddities. I'm still completely baffled that absinthe seems to be, there's interest in absinthe even, right? Where did that come from? Right? It wasn't there 5 years ago. It wasn't there 6 years, 7 years ago. But it's there now, and it's not a huge segment, but it's the same thing with single malt or rye or even American whiskeys. I love obviously what Iron Root Republic is doing, and I'm consistently, them and Leopold Brothers, consistently that's where I lean into, and I'm like, well, that's the future for people in the industry such as myself, is that they are paving that road. So
yeah. Oh, that's great. Mike.
Well, I mean, one of I guess the good thing that I see is there's a lot of, and not that I don't drink other stuff from the big distilleries or whatever, but with the craft distilleries, there's a lot of people that have been, it seems more in the last 2 years, hitting their stride. And by that, I don't mean that they have to come out with 6 or 8 year whiskey, because, Age whores, that's a whole nother subject, people that are stuck on that. But finding your stride is finding out what is your best product that you're doing. And some people, it could be a 2-year product. It could be a 6-month-old, which we've got a mutual friend has put out a 6-month-old wheat whiskey that blows a lot of things out of the water. But when they hit their stride and then they feel comfortable in what they can produce and they know what they're doing, it's great, because it's like they have this weight is lifted off of them and they're just really going nuts. The downside is the people that would normally be spending their Saturdays standing in line or going somewhere else because they have to complete their horsey collection or something else. Those jumping on some of the craft bandwagon and then are like, oh, I'm a champion of craft. It's like, well, you're not a champion of craft if you're only using it to make a buck for yourself. You have to actually like it and appreciate what you're drinking instead of using it to flip, because that's what you can. That's the downside to it. But I mean, that's a problem all over in the industry, are the bros, as it were, the bourbon bros.
I'm going to start my own horsey one day when I start my own brand, but it's going to be a donkey.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, yours has to be a jackass.
Yep. It's going to be a donkey, and his name's going to be Low Gear Ed, and you only have to collect 2 letters, just ED.
Oh, gosh.
ED. Okay, great.
Yeah, there's a bro joke in there.
There's a promotional tie in there somewhere. Yep.
Are you going to be sponsored by Roman Swipes or one of those other?
It's going to be. It's probably going to be the Alex Jones show.
Great. Kevin, what about you, man? What's exciting to you and what's disappointing?
Well, I'll tell you what. I will say that I do sense that there's an opening up or a greater acceptance in the whiskey world of things that are a little non-traditional. I think the fact that I was talking about this earlier that I got from Blake at Sealbox, and that sold out. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, would a American single malt from a distillery that most people had never heard of sell out? I don't know, but I know it does now. I know a lot of the stuff that Alan puts out sells out pretty quickly, and that's that I think that's great. There's a lot of people are tired of the same old thing and of trying to chase the which inn am I going to get in Blanton's, and tracking down Weller, and people have tried Pappy Van Winkle now. They know that it's not that great. So, and it's certainly not worth what you have to pay for it on the secondary market. So people are starting to use their dollars elsewhere. And I think that's exciting. I think that's great for the craft industry. That's great for people like Alan. That's great for people like Jolie and the company that she represents, and the distillery that they're starting. And it's certainly great for Blake and what he does at Sealbox. And so I think all that is very positive. And talking about wheat whiskey, Alan and I are going to host a show later this month on September 28th, where we're going to have a panel that'll consist of Alan and Mike and Patrick and Steve Coombs and Lisa Wicker. So we're going to have a panel of those folks, and we're going to do a blind sample of 5 different wheat whiskeys. I think that's a market that's on the rise as well. And we've talked about American single malt. I think that is getting ready to take off also. Mm-hmm. And you look at what people like Lenny are doing at Deerhammer. It's fantastic. So I think there are a lot of things to be excited about in the evolving palate of the American whiskey drinker. Now, on the flip side of that, the bourbon bro is getting more insane. And a couple of weeks ago, there was a release at Four Roses, and there's a picture of just cars lined up down the street, like the closing scene to Field of Dreams, just going on and on and on forever to line up.
Yeah.
And hopefully they got there early enough to get a bottle. Basically, since the calendar flipped to September and Bourbon Heritage Month, every day there are people lining up at liquor stores for no apparent reason. I mean, just dozens of people lined up on the off chance that Liquor Barn or Total Wine is releasing something allocated that day.
You know,
that's just nuts.
That's so frustrating to me as someone who has a relationship with both liquor stores near me. You know, the managers and the owners. You to see somebody drive in from out of town, and I've seen this happen with my own eyes. Someone walks in, you can tell they're not from around here. This is a very rural area. They walk in, they do a sweep down the bourbon aisle. They don't go anywhere else. And they say, what do you have in back? Or do you have any Blantons? Or where's the good stuff? Or, you know, you walk in and you think that is what is going to get you an allocated bottle, when in fact, those allocated bottles are going to people who are spending their money in that store, not just buying allocated bottles. You're buying your bitters there. You're buying your mixers, your gins, your scotch, your White Claws, whatever you have for whatever, you know, mom water. You know, you go and you buy that and you don't ask every single time, you know, where's the Booker? And I know what days things release in my town,
right?
You know, because I'm there enough. I've built a relationship, you know, that it's very presumptuous to think that you can just hop from store to store to store to store, you know, and think that somebody's just going to hand you something that, you know, unfortunately is allocated for most everyone, you know, unless you're going to, you know, Cancun or something, and then you can buy it right off the shelf. Droves of
I agree. I buy a lot of sugar at Walmart, and nobody has ever offered me anything top shelf at Walmart. It's bullshit.
I mean,
it's bullshit.
Why not?
You're in the wrong aisle, Bishop.
Damn it!
Love
you, buddy.
All right, Drew, how about you? You asked the question, now you get to answer it.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't want to piggyback on what Jolie said, but the new classifications for American single malt excite me. I would love to see slight changes in verbiage on some of that legislation. The no color, no flavor, I think would be a great addition to that. Similar to the way that bourbon and rye are. I just think if we're going to give this its own classification, it would be great to put that in the same category with some of the other distinctive spirits of the U.S. But, you know, what Lenny's doing, what a few others are doing, really excite me. I'm also really glad to see the end of beer finishing. That was a big trend here in Louisville a couple years ago. That's just BS. Most of the things I'm excited about are kind of what you guys have already touched on, though. The kind of rise of American brandies. You know, what you've got going, Alan, with Old Clifty. Even some of the stuff coming out here in Louisville with Copper and Kings. Sacred Bond from Heaven Hill is a sleeper on the shelf. I'm really excited to see more and more places that I go offer, you know, like a brandy old fashioned, or more and more craft brandies come out. As far as things that I'm irritated about or disappointed in, there's a long list, but I'm really not a fan of these online lottery systems.
Right.
As much as it can be frustrating as the Bourbon Bros come in, how many great memories and stories do we have from camping out in front of a liquor store overnight, or a distillery overnight? And I miss that day. And I think as the things go more and more online, thinking like, you know, Four Roses limited edition small batch and Old Forester birthday bourbon this year, no one knows where those are going. And the lack of transparency in that is pretty frustrating to me. Not that I would be the one to hunt them, but it's also like, okay, so we know that nobody that we know got it, and where the hell is it? So,
and not only that, the people you would expect got it didn't get it. Yeah. That's the weird
exactly.
Thing. Yeah,
exactly. And so, you know, we talk a lot on here about, you know, dancing with the one that brought you kind of a thing. Our store here in Louisville, Westport Whiskey and Wine, where Kevin and I met, in the store we both love, they're not getting any kind of allocation at all. It's all going to those online lotteries. So I would like to see that go away. The other thing, I would love a little bit more distinction with these toasted barrels, to see everyone say, okay, it's this long and this level of toast. Here's where we got the barrels, that kind of a thing. Everybody, it seems like, has a toasted product out on the market right now. And I'm kind of over it if I don't know what sets you apart or makes you special. You know, Jason over at Buzzard's Roost is a great example of doing it the right way. You know, every single expression and product line that he's doing and how that plays out, what makes it unique. But I'm kind of through with the BS of, oh, this is toasted barrel. Who cares unless you're going to tell me what it is that makes yours special. So more of a rant than probably you asked for, but that's kind of where I see things.
You're such a Twitter user, Drew.
That I am.
You brought up something though too I want to touch on real quick. So you brought up the single malt regulations, and as a distiller, I agree with you 100%, especially as a distiller who's tends to be leans a little more traditional. The same thing needs to be done with those brandy regulations though too, because brandy has been out in the wilderness for so long since right after Prohibition, you know, and not that there's anything wrong with any of those, you know, lower shelf brandies that are out there. They are what they are, and you expect them to be what they are, but they should be labeled truthfully. And American brandy as a whole, and let's face it, we have a huge diversity of brandy in the United States, even if it's all made on a small scale. It needs that boost because nobody takes it seriously unless there's a set group of regulations that matches bourbon or rye, or if you wanted to make a wheat whiskey, it has to fall into that same sort of thing with no coloration and no adulteration. And if it has that stuff, then have it on the bottle, and that's fine.
Yeah. Yep. No, fully agree on that.
Which or I was going to say on that, do you think we'll ever hit that point where, or is it just always going to kind of be like rum where it's like, hey, like it's always been a little bit of a free for all. And so that's how we're going to keep it. And there's no, you know, the people who really care about it and the connoisseurs who really care about it are such a small percentage that it just will never go through.
I think it depends a little bit, honestly, on how craft whiskey develops on the West Coast, right? Because a lot of those West Coast craft whiskey producers are also brandy producers. So how seriously do they take their art? Are they willing to push those regulations in the same way that, let's say, Richard Seal from, Foursquare is willing to push the Barbados thing, right? So it can be either from the consumer level or on a regulation level, but it's going to take the producers to really push for that the same way they did for single malt, etc. I think that brandy, especially, let's say, quote unquote, post COVID, as I said here with COVID, right? And it's just about like a head cold, whatever. But I think as on premise starts to grow back, and it hasn't grown back yet, but I think as on premise starts to grow back with people playing music like Drew, etc., right? And people are drinking mixed drinks, that's where brandy has its levity. You got to get people to drink brandy in the bars in order to get them to drink brandy at home. And it's going to have to be a twofold sort of attack to get people to take it seriously.
Yeah.
And we're talking about single malt. Here's some Deer Hammer single malt that is now in my glass. Uh-oh, Drew's breaking out the hat.
Changing hats. I just switched whiskeys, so new hat time.
Don't you challenge me to a good time. I got a whole closet of costumes, brother.
That's a hat.
Yeah.
I've been telling Drew since he started playing that he needed a hat and a hat with a feather. And so now he has it. This is fantastic. So
don't look so insecure, Pilgrim. It looks good. You got this.
God, it's fantastic.
Pilgrim.
So when's your next show, Drew? So we know when to see you.
Next one from today will be it's a week from Friday, so it'll be Gaslight Fest here in Louisville. So If you're not familiar with it, they shut down most of the J-Town area, and they have live music all up and down the street. There's food vendors and music vendors and all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm gonna have the Wild Boys out with me, and we'll be playing about 3 hours. So if you're around, come check it out. Yeah.
Hey, Blake, I know you got to take off, but while we were on the subject of transparency, and then I'll let you go. One of the things that I appreciate about what you do at Sealbox is you identify the products by the distillers or the blenders, and I appreciate that. That way, you know if what you're buying is what somebody actually made or if it's what somebody actually sourced. And I understand in craft, a lot of people, they got to pay the bill, so they're going to source some whiskey to do that. But to be able to see and know without a doubt that, you know, these people, they're making the stuff that are on the site, and these people are sourcing the stuff that are on the site. I really respect that and appreciate that as a consumer. So.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah. And that's kind of one of the things I think we may have talked about the first time I was on, but it's like, you know, whenever we first started out, the classifications were really tight, but that's something that will never change. And, you know, if somebody gets a little bit bigger or whatever it may be, installs a new still, like that's not a reason to cut them out of the site. Like, that's great for them. It's growth. It means they're making good stuff and it's growing. So, but yeah, the whole distiller blender distinction, you know, I feel like for some reason in American whiskey, like we've got this weird perspective on blending and sourcing. Like, well, we don't care who the master blender is and any of that. It's like, but I'll buy MGP all day. I'm like, well, you should really be caring about the blending if you're just buying source products. Like, you know, they don't even know the guy's name who distilled it at MGP. I'm sure it's Craig Metz, but you know, so that's where I think it's a really important thing. So it is always great to hear that people do care about that, because we push people sometimes. We're like, well, we know you're doing both, so which one is this? Like, well, we produced it. I'm like, I produced a lot of things, but you know, it's
right.
Still or source, you know. So, and I get it. There's NDAs and all that stuff, but everybody should be able to say that at least, you know. Either we made it or we didn't make. We blended it. So that's the idea there. So. Well, cool. Well, guys, again, congrats on 1 year. I have to jump, but thanks for having me.
All right.
Thanks for coming, Blake. Good to see you, man.
We'll have you back soon, Blake. Appreciate it, brother.
As always, thanks for the support, man.
You know, I'm due for some new private barrels, so this timed up perfectly. So.
Hey, I'm just telling you, there might be some limited cases of some smoked apple brandy coming. So.
Hey.
All right. Well, you know who's getting an email first thing in the morning. Y'all have a good one. See ya.
Thanks, Blake.
Later.
Right.
Hey, wanted to go through just a few more shows as a little walk down the memory lane of the last year.
Hey, Kevin, can I interrupt real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just going to. I'm not really asking, but
I understand. I'm just being polite. So
I wanted to make sure that everyone who's watching this, you know, it's right around the corner. I mean, it literally falls during Alan Bishop month in October. Jolie's got a birthday coming up, and it's not every year that you get a 52nd birthday. So we just got to make sure that we tell Jolie happy 52nd birthday in October. Look at the hatred. Look at it's boiling.
I'll be 47.
52.
So thank you. Do what you did. You just go down.
On your birthday, we will be sure to give you a very warm, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And whatever the number,
it's very 47. It's cool. There's no shame. It's 47. It's not 52. Even though Alan says 52 and my son says 68, it's neither of those two numbers.
It's very hard to fit 52 candles onto a Geritol muffin. Just saying.
It's 40.
Yeah.
Wow. Listen,
Hey.
I'm not infected right now. You are. So just keep your sinus infection COVID to yourself.
Thought I'd come hang out tomorrow for a while.
Nope. No. Andy said, do it. Andy has Alan Bishop withdrawals. He hasn't seen him in like 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to hang out. I haven't sat on his lap for a while.
Too long.
Too long. Oh man. Moving right along. Speaking of Jolie, we had a show with her where we talked about Toka Lake and Old Homestead and her being America's favorite redhead and all that good stuff. But during those months, we did a distillers breakthrough show, and we want to do more of that kind of thing where we talk with young distillers about what it's like to get into the industry. Had my good friend Austin Huff, who's a DJ up in US 99 in Chicago. We had Turner and Rolling Fork. He was on. Blake, who just left us. We talked about Jack White. We did a musicians breakthrough show. I think we had Drew, who'd we have on there? You and Kevin
Myself
Niehoff.
and Niehoff, and then Ryan Nisi.
Ryan
From
Nisi,
Buffalo Gospel.
Yep. And Shannon. Shannon was on with us. She's awesome.
From
And
Portland.
yes, hang on just a second. I thought I had this.
Hi.
So yeah, there's Shannon, poorly educated. So she's got a great little great business that she's working there. So be sure to follow her on Instagram and see what all she's got going on. Shannon's been a guest with us. She's been a guest host with us a couple of times. So she's fantastic. Then in May and June, we had John on. He talked about Peerless and talked about Stave and Bean. You know, we always do. We didn't do it tonight, so I can't say always, but we almost always do a little fake commercial until we actually get advertising, and you know, people are paying for spots on the show. But we always do a little commercial to promote some friends or whatever the case may be. The first one we did was for Stave and Bean because they launched their endeavor, John and Corey Welch, around the same time that we started our show. So we appreciate those guys. We did a no skips, no misses show with Mike where we talked about whiskey brands that just don't miss and albums that don't have any skips in them. There's nothing that you're going to just try to get. That song sucks and blow by it. We had Johnny Edwards on from Blue Funk, and he was lead singer for Foreigner back in the day. He was a lot of fun. If you're in town, if you're in Louisville, basically I think it's the first Friday of every month they play at Stevie Ray's, and it's a great band. Very much worth your time checking out. Then we had Robert and Josh from Iron Root on with us. I think I saw Robert in the chat a while ago. Robert, good to see you there. Love what Iron Root is doing. The only problem I have with them is distribution because I can't get much of their stuff here. And Stephen Fonte was on the show as well. And then we did a live show with Steve Bayshore out at George Washington Distillery and Alan, where we talked about Rush. And that was a lot of fun. You introduced me to Steve, Alan, through sharing Rush videos. So
right. See, there's where that drunken thing at night comes in handy, right? Just I know two guys that like Rush. Let's do this. Let's share some videos. You guys went deep quick.
Now you have a Facebook group.
What's that?
You have a whole Facebook group to do that.
I know we will have a whole Facebook group to do that, and it'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a fun show to do. That was other than that first show, which I played the intro for at the beginning of this. I was probably as nervous for that show, that Rush show, as I was for any, simply because I wanted to make sure I got it right. Yeah, because it meant that much to me, and all these shows mean a lot to me. I want to do it right. I want it to be something that is. I don't want to just do a show for the sake of doing a show. I want the content to be something that means means something to me and hopefully means something to somebody else. Yeah. And that was one that was very important to me. It was the 10th anniversary of the release of the Final Rush album. And I wanted to make sure I got it right. And I think we had a good time doing it.
We did
debate how right I got it, but it was a lot of fun.
You got it right, and that album has grown on me quite a bit. I also you'll enjoy this. So Kelsey Kendall and I at Spirits of French Lick were having this conversation the other day. Like, buildings on fire, like you have a chance to save one thing. What are you saving? And I had two. It came down to two things.
Yep.
I'm grabbing that damn Alex Lifeson pick that you gave me from Counterparts, right?
Yeah.
Screw the whiskey. I can make more whiskey. It's fine. I can't get another Alex Lifeson guitar pick. And then I'm getting the Travis Miller brought me first edition of Days of the New Orange with a Travis Meeks guitar pick, and that's coming out of there one way or the other. Everything else, it's fine. It's gone. It is what it is. So those two things are coming out one way or the other.
Nice.
Love it.
Then the last couple of months, Drew and I had some of the guys from our bourbon group, Bourbon Fellowship, on. We talked about what it means to be a part of a bourbon group. Our group's a little different. It's more about the friendship than it is the bourbon, but it is a lot about the bourbon. We had Adam Stumpf on from Stumpy Spirits. Man, those guys are just doing some fantastic things over there. We had three boys on with Hunter and Walter, and those guys were a lot of fun. Hunter knows absolutely nothing about music. Fortunately, Walter does.
It really was that way. But now if you're gonna ask Square Body Chevy or Ford, Hunter's on that in a heartbeat.
Hunter knows that. What? Who's your favorite Beatle, Hunter?
Who are the Beatles?
I don't know. So anyway, we did a whiskey in the movie show with Mike and Patrick, and we talked about movie soundtracks as well. That was a lot of fun. Joe Lee was a guest host with us on these next two with Deerhammer. Lenny was on, and man, he had some fantastic whiskey to share with us.
So good.
Yes.
I'm very encouraged to hear that he and Blake have connected, and hopefully that'll work out well.
Yeah.
Then we had a show on bottles and covers where we talked about our favorite whiskey bottles and our favorite album covers. And then the Steve Gorman shows, those were a lot of fun. I think Patrick and Mike may have mentioned those before. Those were a lot of fun, and we appreciate Steve coming on and doing that for us. So,
hey, you'll like this too, Kevin. So for the first time ever, I showed Dad that the Steve Gorman thing, right, with our whiskey, and Dad was like, "You kind of made something of yourself," and I'm like, "That's what it took. That's it. That's what like somebody associated with the Black Crows. That's what it took." That's what it took to get that a boy. I think that's why he sold me the farm.
But I think we've got some higher profile, maybe not higher profile than the Black Crows, but we've got some high profile musicians that we're going to have on the show. So we'll funnel them some of your whiskey, Alan.
Listen, all I'm saying is we got to get Dave Mustaine on here, and let's make this Megadeth Brandy thing happen. I mean, I've been pulling for this for years, so if anybody out there can make that happen, I mean, he can come on the show, and I don't even own the show. I'm only on it every once in a while, but I think that Kevin and Drew would be okay with Dave Mustaine coming on just talking trash about everybody, right? I mean, you're not going to complain.
No, that'd be awesome. We'd have a good time with that, especially.
1,000%.
Maybe we can get him and Johnny Cougar on at the same time.
Oh gosh. I don't know about that.
Only if Amzi can be on to interview.
Look, when we do the Sucking on a Chili Dog show,
there you go.
I am going to ask repeatedly for Mellencamp to be on. I'm sure that he won't, because he's just that kind of guy. Our
Jolie knows George Napier, Happy George, and if you guys ever watched, I don't know if you saw where Happy George came to the distillery a few years ago and saying happy birthday to Dad and all that stuff, but he's been all over local news. Somebody hired him to sing happy birthday to John Mellencamp a couple weeks ago, and Yeah, so it ended up all over social media. I'm not sure that Mellencamp acknowledged it, but there's no way
No
that he
way.
hasn't seen it. Like, I'm for sure he's going to restaurants and people are coming up with phones and being like, hey, you remember this? You remember this?
Oh man, so pretentious. Hey, Joey, you said you had to leave.
Yes, I'm gonna hop off.
All right,
All right.
Don't-
Love you,
you might-
friend.
Happy
Don't-
anniversary.
thank
Don't
you.
hop, you might break a bone.
God. Bye, guys.
Thanks for everything, Jolie.
See ya.
Bye.
I'm sorry I ruined your show again.
No, you didn't ruin the show. I appreciate it. No, this is fine. But we want to tell everybody we won't go on forever here tonight, but we do want to tell folks what we have coming up soon. Because, man, first of all, we have the aforementioned AMZ Winning, who is going to be on next in 2 weeks. You'll see this one in 2 weeks, talking about Bourbon on the Banks, which, okay, if you've not been to Bourbon on the Banks, you just need to plan to go. It is a very low-key, outstanding whiskey festival. It's kind of all the good stuff, so good things about a whiskey festival without all the BS. So be sure to check out AMZ.
There's going to be a good single barrel selection from Wilderness Trail there too. That a bunch of us went and did, and
got COVID.
Pretty sure that's where the Corona came from.
Yeah.
So
if you want COVID, if you love COVID and you love your whiskey,
whether I show up at Bourbon on the Banks or not, I took one for the team.
You guys have to come up with an appropriate tater sticker for that.
It's
Somehow.
just it's got to be Macaulay instead of Bourbon Swami. It's got to be like a Bourbon Plague sticker, right? So
all of you laying down with a chalk outline around you or something.
Yeah, it's twofold. I mean, by the end of the day, we should have all been laying down with a chalk outline one way or the other. And then a week later, I'm still going, oh, that was stupid. Why? But it was fun. It's a good pick. You guys are gonna like it. So
yeah, the Fauci pick. Yep. Okay. Anyway, Brian Hara, who wrote the book Bourbon Justice, is going to be on. We're going to talk about his book and lawsuits in the whiskey industry, but we're also going to talk about some really interesting legal battles within the music industry. So that'll be a lot of fun. Katie Garrett from Old Hickory Whiskey Bar is going to be on with us. Eric Wolf from Stolen Wolf. Alan, I think you're going to be a guest host with us that night. We're going to talk with Eric about his relationship with Dick Stoll and what all they have going on at their distillery. David Jennings, you may know him better as that Wild Turkey guy on social media. He's going to be on, and we're going to have him on around Jimmy Russell's birthday in November and talk about some Wild Turkey. Felicia Corbin at Trouble Bar here in Louisville. This will probably be our first live remote show. So Drew and I have been testing out some technology to make sure we got that down, but we're going to try to do that with Felicia. Been talking with Brian Cushing about coming on. Brian is the guy from Victorian Barroom, and we're going to talk about some Victorian era music. So that'll be really branching out.
that's going to be fantastic. That's going to be fantastic.
It will. I don't know what all really qualifies or classifies as Victorian era music, but I look forward to finding out.
I will tell you this: it's like
Mellencamp.
It's Brian right now at this moment. It's Brian and 5 other people who know. But after he's on the show, at least another 30 people who are like, "Damn, have you heard this Victrola recording?"
Yeah,
awesome. Victrola, yes,
the greatest hits on the hurdy-gurdy.
Oh, we're gonna have a great regional band here called Sweet Lady. I've seen them perform live a few times recently, and they are fantastic. Just a fantastic blues-based band. They've got some live music some new music that they're going to be debuting soon, and they may be debuting some of their new music on our show.
Awesome.
The band The Cold Stairs, who recently toured in Europe with the again aforementioned Joe Bonamassa. The Cold Stairs, man, they are a fantastic blues rock band. If you're not familiar with them, check them out on Spotify or YouTube. And they've got a few new songs out as well. They've got a new album coming out, I believe, in January. So those guys are going to be on the show too, and talking about their love of whiskey and the music that they make. And then we're going to have Nancy Fraley on the show as well. Nancy is just an incredibly talented and well-known consultant in the spirits industry. Nancy's going to be on what most people don't know about Nancy is she is a huge Leonard Skinner fan. So we're going to be doing blind tastings with Nancy Fraley and talking Skinner. So I don't know that it gets better than that. and Alan's going to be guest hosting that show with us as well. So that'll be a lot of fun. So I think we've got some good stuff coming up, and we've got some more things in the works as well. But that's kind of what we have nailed down at this point.
Yeah, super excited for year 2, man. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Not only the ones I'm a part of, but just watching you two and all the guests as well, Mike, etc. Everybody else, everybody comes on. I love the show again. Like I said, I love music and whiskey and spirits in general. So it's always cool to see what you guys are doing. So,
well, I really appreciate it. Appreciate the support, both for both of you guys. When you've been on the show or just when you've shared things that we've got going on as well. Can't thank you all enough. So,
absolutely. As long as Instagram doesn't pop up with a "you can't share this kind of story," and then I get confused and I'm like, I don't want to have to go through all this.
Hey, the next show that we've got. Let me see if I can find this here. There it is.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we mentioned this in the chat earlier, but we're going to be doing a show next week on the Taylor Hawkins tribute show that was done at Wembley recently. Both Kevin and I are huge fans of the Foo Fighters and Taylor in particular. So very excited to share that with you as we finish watching that and just kind of getting to join the celebration of Taylor's life. So it's going to be a fun show.
Yeah, that was a absolutely fantastic show.
Yeah. Hey,
agreed.
The emotional side of music was tapped into and to the 100th degree in that concert.
Yeah,
and seeing people like that in awe of each other during that show, was which I know I shared with you, Kevin, that when Wolfgang Van Halen was playing and Dave Grohl on bass gets down there and has this look like, oh my God, the whole time that was just amazing. And it was just filled with that for 6 hours.
Yeah. Sometimes things are real and sometimes they're real. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a whole nother level. And I look forward to tuning into that one. Hey, something else that may or may not be on your all's radar that you might want to cover. Just me being the weird 80s geek that I am, but have you guys seen the trailers for the new Dio film?
No,
I have not.
Yeah, so it's coming to theaters for a limited weekend engagement sort of thing, and it looks absolutely fantastic. If nothing else, you have to go and watch. There's a clip about the photographer who Dio had called up when he was doing Holy Diver, and he called the guy and he said, "Hey, give me a good cove that you can meet me at." And the guy gave him this cove to go to. He said he goes down there and Dio's like in the water when he gets there and he's got these chains on, right? Like the cover of Holy Diver. And the guy's trying to get this picture of Dio, and Dio, he's 4'8", whatever. But he said Dio's just like weighted down by these chains, and every time a wave comes up, it's just crashing over Dio. Dio's going under the water. He comes back up. Take the fucking picture now. Right. Just trying not to drown. But I'm really looking forward to that. So
that's fantastic. Hang on just a second, I just found it. Let me try to pull it in here.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it is one day in theaters, September 28th.
Right.
And
It's what happens when I mention odd things I come across while I'm drinking. Like it just becomes a rabbit hole.
What?
It
No,
was like we're wrapping the show up, but hold
there
on.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dreamers never die.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll
yeah.
be fun.
Love
I'm
it.
looking forward to
Love
that.
it. Alan, you might have to come to Louisville. We can do a little group outing or something for that.
Dude, yeah, if it's if you find a theater in Louisville that's playing it, I am game for that. I don't care what I have otherwise going on that weekend, but I am absolutely game for that ordeal for sure.
Yep.
So
Cinemark just down the road from where we are.
right.
7:15 on the 28th of September.
I don't think I have anything that day, so let's see what we can't come up with.
All right.
That could be your first low mobile live show.
Okay, we're doing a Bourbon Turntable group outing to watch the Dio movie. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
We're
middle
gonna
fuck.
need some,
Yeah.
We're gonna need some Spirits of French Lick in a boot flask in there because I'm not paying movie theater booze prices.
It's Dio, so it's full on roasted malted sunflower dragon slayer
Oh.
shit.
There you go.
All right.
But you have to
Good
sneak
stuff.
it in your spandex somehow.
Don't you challenge Duthy Wodes to a good time.
Oh my goodness. That'll be awesome. All right,
Awesome,
well,
awesome.
let me do that. All right, we're gonna get out of here before anything gets further off the rails. But watch for our Facebook group. I'll send out some invitations to that. But if you're watching this, hop on in. We're gonna have a good time there, and just share with each other what we're drinking, what we're listening to, and share some new music, share some new whiskey, share some good times together. So that'll be a lot of fun. And Drew, happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
Couple days early. Now, are you playing anywhere on your birthday?
I am not. I'm going to take the whole day off, and there's a bar right up the street from me that has some 1995 Old Forester, and I happen to be born in that year and have a little affinity for Old Fo. So I plan on camping out there most of the day.
All right.
Oh yeah.
All right. Very good. Very good. All right. Well, hey, thanks. Thanks is not enough. I really do appreciate everybody that has supported the show in any way, whether it's watching or sharing links to the show, liking the posts in Instagram or Facebook, or commenting or being guest hosts like these two guys have been. We really appreciate it. It was one of those things that wanted to try it, see if I could do it, and was able to do it with some friends. And I think we've had a good time with it. And as you can see from the shows we've got coming up, we're just building up a head of steam with it. I think we've put out some really quality content, despite the loser that opened this show and opened our first show. But we're getting better at it as we go, and I think we've got some good stuff to share with you all. So until next time, cheers, love, and free bird.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody, and thanks again.
Later, guys.